Hey, friends. I love the fact as you're reading through the story of Jesus that he always, not always, but typically answers a question with another question, right? That's going to be the case in the new story that we're going to be reading. You should read John 5, 1 to 15. We're going to be in the story for about 4 or 5 days. And so you should read that story every day as we're watching these videos. We're going to read 3 through 6 in a second. But like I said, we could call this Growth Requires Letting Go Part 2. But we're going to call this the question that he asks in the story, and that's, do you want to be healed? Now, you would think that would be an easy, obvious question, right? Do you want to get better, right? The person in our story has been an invalid for a long time. Do you want to be able to get up and walk and do stuff? You would think that's obvious, but sometimes it's not so much. And so we're going to read this and then we're going to talk about this idea. John 5, starting in verse 3. Here, a great number of disabled people used to lie: the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years, right? 4 decades. When Jesus saw him laying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I've got no one to help me into the pool when the water stirred." Now, what that's about is there was some kind of mythology that happened there that they believe that periodically an angel touched the water and it caused some kind of healing properties, and the first person in got healed. I have no idea if that's true or not, but that's what these people that were surrounding this pool believed. And so Jesus shows up one day and he asks him, "Man, do you want to get better?" And instead of just saying yes, this guy was focused on what he thought the right answer was. It wasn't, who are you? What do you know? Do you think that you can help me? I don't know if this guy heard stories about Jesus or not, but I've always found it fascinating that people who were stuck in the same predicament for a long time, right? They go after, one boyfriend to another, to another, to another. It's always the same guy, or if for a girl, a boy, girlfriend, same girlfriend over and over, different body, right? Same person over. They're always having the same problem. Maybe it's a financial problem, or maybe it's a job problem. They go from one job to another, to another, to another, and it's always right. Oh, we prayed God, we got this new job, and then they get the new job, and it's like, why would God do this to me? And it's every year it's just, you hear the same thing, and you want to help them, and it's can you see what's? Oh, I know what the answer is. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want, and everybody around them is going. They don't have a clue what's going on, do they? Right? Because they don't really know. But there's something in them, and there's something in you, and there's something in me that feels like we should be able to have the answers, even for things that we've never learned about or experienced. And that's silly. That's why we're a community, right? We know that it takes tribe to raise a kid, but it also takes a tribe to be an adult, right? We don't have to have all the answers. There's no possible way that you could. And I love the fact that we have Google and we can look stuff up all the time. I joke that I've got an 8-year-old right now that has made lying to her impossible because she fact checks me nonstop. I'll say something and I'll hear in the background, "Google, what does this mean?" And it's just like, right. I was trying to play and have some fun and joke, but that's the way that we tend to act as adults. We feel like we should know. And that's what the man in the story is doing. This is the way to get better. It's obviously the only way. But growth requires letting go. And as followers of Jesus, if we really do believe that he's got the answers to life, we've got to let go of what we think the right thing to do is, what our natural instinct is, what our gut tells us. And we've got to begin looking at what he says, as we've said before in a video, even when it don't make sense. Because forgiveness doesn't make any sense until you try it. And generosity doesn't make any sense until you try it. And kindness doesn't make any sense, right, to people that aren't kind towards you. And loving people that wouldn't be lovely back towards you. None of that stuff makes any sense until you try it. But Jesus promises us that he's the way, he's the truth, he's the life. And if you want to grow, you've got to let go. And if you want to heal and get better at this thing called life, you've got to go to the great physician, because he knows the way and he can get you where he created you to be. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.